Hello, my name is Kern, and welcome to another Magic the Gathering Arena Deck Guide, Bathrobe Edition. Yeah, I'm in my bathrobe. We are playing Izzet Tempo. Now, if you're not aware, I posted a version of this list several months ago, made a couple of videos about it, updated the deck throughout, and also posted it to AetherHub, where it got a lot of attention, a lot of views, a lot of exports, which was hugely gratifying for me because I'm not trying to be a pro YouTuber or pro Magic player or anything. The reason that I do this is because I like to brew and I like to share it with you. So the idea that someone's playing my pile is like the most rewarding thing in the world for me. That's why I'm doing this. So anyway, I've kept up with this Izzet Tempo list and have adapted it as the meta has changed. And I wanted to take one last look at it with the current meta that is so dominated by Temur, Clover, and Sultai Control and see what this pile of cards looks like now. A really interesting thing about playing Izzet Tempo that I've found really rewarding is that it needs to adapt. And I find that rewarding as a brewer. So I have to really be thinking critically about every single card in the deck and what needs to be removed and what needs to be added, which is just exciting for me. But unlike Mono Blue Tempo and Days of Yore, you don't just have a good pile of cards that's good against virtually everything with like some small little tweaks here and there depending on the meta. This Izzet Tempo pile is very, very dependent on the meta, which I think is also in part due to the fact that the power level of Standard has creeped up so much. So you have to deal with things like Uro and have really specific answers to cards like that, whereas in Mono Blue, Tempo, Days of Yore, you really didn't have threats that were quite like that. So that's been a hugely rewarding part for me. So how are we going to try to do this? How are we going to try to control the tempo of the game, and especially to deal with Sultai Control and Temur Clover? Well, first of all, if you're not familiar, tempo is all about controlling the pace of the game. So either providing yourself acceleration or decelerating your opponent, or both. So that can look like bouncing things back to their hand. That can look like saying no to their cards. Sorry, you don't get to cast that. It can look like putting down decent threats, removing things from the game, and putting down things that can grow and become huge threats as well. So we have a lot of ways that we can do that in this deck. This version of the list is actually a lot slower than any other version of Izzet Tempo that I've played since about, oh god, what set was it? Yeah, it was Theros. Yeah, since Theros. This is probably the slowest version of the deck. And I think that just is because a lot of our biggest threats are, Sultai Control and Temur Clover kind of do take a while to really threaten you very much. And we really need to be able to stay in the game for longer because we also can't close the game fast enough against those decks. They play like lots of board wipes. They play Uro, they play Brazen Borrowers themselves, which they're copying with Lucky Clovers to bounce our board back to our hand. So we can't really pressure their face fast enough to kill them. So we do need to be able to survive in a more longer drawn out game. So that means cards like Gadwick to help us draw deeper into our deck. But it's also huge tempo and control card. Gadwick usually is the reason that we win games with this version of the list. And this is the first version of Izzet Tempo that I've really committed to Gadwick because I really prefer a more aggressive style of Izzet Tempo in current standard. But this, I think you need a slower tempo right now in the meta, and Gadwick, oh my god, does he really help you close games. Not only, of course, does he help you refill your hand, but then any blue spell you play taps creatures, which is huge. You can use that to essentially remove threats from the board, tap their Uro before they can attack with it. Threatening your face, but also drawing them cards and gaining them life. But you can also tap their things down so that you can get your own attacks in, which is usually how we find our lethal, is by some weird combination, including Gadwick. We also have a cheeky single Embercleave in here that can help us close out the game, and two Phoenix of Ash as late game threats that can become big in its own right. So when we have a bunch of mana, we can just dump it into it, and it really forces our opponent to exile it. Otherwise, we can just keep recursing it. So even if they have like one big stompy threat, they're not going to ever be able to kill us with that unless they can exile our Phoenix of Ash, because we can constantly recurse it until we do find the cards that we need. Other weird things in this deck is that there are no hard counters here, which is bizarre, especially when we're trying to play a game that goes much longer with Gadwick and a much slower version of the deck. But I think it's a little bit warranted, and I think it works. You might try to sub out a few Lofty Denial for a hard counter like Sinister Sabotage or something like that. Especially because, another weird thing, we only have 10 flyers in this version of the list. 4 Spectral Sailor, 4 Brazen Borrower, and 2 Phoenix of Ash. So this can be a little bit hard to turn on or keep on sometimes, but that's okay, because one of the things about Lofty Denial is sometimes it's just as good as Quench. Because your opponent's going to tap out to play an effect. So even if you don't have a flyer, sometimes you can counterspell it. Also, we have a Miscast in here as well. Just a single cheeky Miscast to hit something for 1 mana of our opponents. We can also counter our own spells with this card. So I could like play an Opt and then Miscast it, for example, just in case I need to grow a Brineborn Cutthroat a little bit more and or tap out additional creatures of theirs. So it's just another blue spell. But, I mean, it can be hugely powerful as a way to counter, like, say, a board wipe or some kind of targeted single target removal spell for 1 of our own mana. But yeah, all of these counter spells are not hard counters. Brineborn Cutthroat is really key to what we're trying to do in the deck. We are going to play him early. We're going to try to play him early, try to protect him, and then help grow him so that he can become a viable blocker and attacker later on in the game. He's a really great Embercleave target, as is the Phoenix of Ash, and the Bonecrusher Giant can be as well, as long as we're willing to... yeah. Well, actually, I was going to say, as long as we're willing to take 2 damage, but we don't, because he's not the target of a spell. He's the target of an equip. We have a single Scorching Dragonfire in here to try to deal with an Uro. If we can catch it when it comes out, if they aren't able to ramp quick enough or we're on the play or whatever, then that can be nice. But I only have 1 because it's a pretty dead card. Otherwise, there aren't a lot of 3 toughness things that are super important for us to hit versus like what a Bonecrusher Giant can do, which is just such a better card for the deck since it is a creature threat as well as damage to the face as well as removal. So yeah, Scorching Dragonfire is just here to like, just in case we need a little bit of exile and can be nice, a little bit of control. Whirlwind Denial. So here is where it gets weird, right? Like this is where you would expect a hard counter to be in this deck, is in this slot. Instead, we're playing Whirlwind Denial. So why is that? The biggest reason why is because of Clover. So our opponent can play Clover before we can counterspell it. That's just a fact. If we're on the play, then we might be able to hold up a Lofty Denial in order to counterspell it. But otherwise, there is nothing that we can do about them playing a turn 2 Clover. Like, there is just no card. I mean, we could put negates in the deck, but that's pretty bad. I don't want to put negates in this version of the Tempo deck. It's just so bad. So the next best thing is, if they do resolve a Clover, having a way to deal with it. Whirlwind Denial not only gets to counter some spell that they're trying to duplicate, but it also counters all the duplicate copies, and can be useful in other situations, like someone's trying to do a priest activation. Well, cool, we Whirlwind Denial that. Like, it's just hugely helpful. There's a lot of abilities, either triggered abilities or activated abilities on cards that can be hugely powerful to deny. Ominous Seas. I've gotten it off against an Ominous Seas. An opponent removed 8 counters from an Ominous Seas, trying to make a 8/8 Kraken. Boom, Whirlwind Denial. You don't get the Kraken. It can be a really fun card, and we only slightly hate the fact that they can get around it if they have more than 4 mana, especially because both Sultai Control and Temur Clover do tend to ramp. But again, like Whirlwind Denial on a Beanstalk Giants. What's that effect? The sorcery side of that card? You guys know what I'm talking about. What is it? Fertile Footsteps. Yeah. Whirlwind Denial and Fertile Footsteps can be super huge. Either just the card itself or when it's being copied by Clover, which is super common. Like that's the perfect Temur Clover play if they can do it, is to do a turn 2 Clover, turn 3 Fertile Footsteps. So if you can copy both of those, then that really helps you to stay on top of the pace of the game before it gets out of control. So anyway, that's pretty much this pile of cards. Again, we're really prioritizing Gadwick. You might notice that we have a huge plethora of blue spells and not a lot of red spells. That's kind of reflected in the mana base, and that has a large part to do with making sure that we get to activate Gadwick enough times to win the game. So let's hop into the ranked ladder and see how this pile does right now, shall we? It's not the best hand. I mean, we've got a couple of no's and a body, but we've got no way to draw or scry. And the Embercleave is pretty dead in hand. So basically we have a 2-card playable hand with land that we could continue flooding out on. So I'm going to mulligan it just because we really don't want to flood. This is much better. I think we drop the Lofty Denial. Yeah, let's drop the Lofty Denial. Ugh, it feels so bad, man. Maybe I should just drop one of the Ops. Yeah, let's drop an Opt. This Opt should be able to help us hit our 3rd land. I am going to shock in without knowing what they are, which is a little dangerous, but I really want to be able to Opt. Try to find something. I can't say no to that. I mean, it's such an important threat. Actually, I could say no to this. They are showing Izzet. So this could very easily get stomped when we play it. And I'd have to shock in again to play it right now. But, I mean, it is Izzet, so they're going to have a lot of no's. If I'm trying to play around the nose, I need to play into them. You know what I mean? Like, I can't just wait, because then they never play their counterspells, their stomps, their shocks. We're not playing this into 2 mana, though. Okay. Riddle form. Do I want to Lofty Denial that? Yeah, that's really hard for us to deal with. Like, we could Whirlwind Denial its ability to turn it into a Sphinx, but I think we're just going to say no. And do I shock in to be able to cast Whirlwind Denial? Ugh. I'm doing more damage to them than they are to me, but, you know, that's a good situation to be in. Sprite Dragon. Let's see if they'll cast an Opt or a Shock to try to grow it, and then we'll crush it. Perfect. Okay, and hitting another land is good. Hopefully I can play out this Brineborn Cutthroat next. Get my own threat on the board, because I'm down to 14, they're down to 21. We've said no to their cards, but we've shocked ourselves in the face so much that they're actually ahead right now. They could have another shock in hand, so if I play a Brineborn Cutthroat, they could destroy it. But I'm making them replay it with the Brazen Borrower anyway. Okay, I don't see any priority being held, so I think this is actually a really safe play. Oh, maybe not. Maybe they Galaxy Brained me. They could have also not wanted to play the shock into my 2 mana here, because I just Lofty Denialed them. So this could get the shock out of them, which I would be okay with. We have other threats we can put down on the board again. All right, now we're getting too many lands here. Okay, I'm not going to reveal that I just top-decked a land just yet. I think I am going to play it, though. Because if I get up to 6 mana, that could allow me to Whirlwind Denial and, like, flash into Brazen Borrower or something. Or to play my Bonecrusher Giant main phase and still hold this up. Although, realistically speaking, I'm just going to deny their Dreadhorde Arcanist. But next turn, it could let me Bonecrusher Giant and Brazen Borrower if I top-deck a land. But then I'm showing them that I have no other counter spells in hand. Well, let's play out the land. I think it's still the best choice for me. We need a Gadwick soon. Let's resolve it. I have a Brazen Borrower, so I can use that to, like, combat trick out. Scorching Dragonfire is good for that riddle form. Might even just Bonecrusher here. Get another threat down. Really start to get their clock ticking. They only have 2 cards in hand. Alright, it's fine. If they're going to attack me, I'm just going to let them do it. This does include Planeswalkers, so either way, their Royal Scions is dead, unless they can draw a 1-mana spell. Oh, they don't use them to draw. Well, they'd have to discard it. Yeah, that's why. Okay.
Bravery galvanizes end.
So the Royal Scions, I'm going to hit them anyway, but I'm trying to figure out, do I prioritize the Royal Scions or do I prioritize not taking 5 damage? Yeah, it's a tough question if I should Scorching Dragonfire the Royal Scions or not. This allows them to draw and discard once, but they have to find the answer they need. So I think it's worth... Or do I play Brineborn Cutthroat? Hold on a second. If I play Brineborn Cutthroat, then the Royal Scions is still dead, and it'll grow next time I play Scorching Dragonfire. And I take the 5 now. Okay, let's do that. And then I still have the Scorching Dragonfire for next turn in case they can somehow do some crazy stuff. This deck really makes me think. It's one of the things I love about it. I could have just gone face there and threatened lethal on the very next turn, but letting them keep the Royal Scions is potentially really risky, especially because it gives them some card selection here. So I'm putting them on top decks now, and if they top deck a land, they're just dead. Okay, they're scrying. So this puts me at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Still not quite lethal. But I think I'm just going to put as many things on the board as I can. Just to grow all these spells and do as much damage to their face while we have this opening. So that one of these creatures can then commit lethal. Actually, is this lethal? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Good game. This is a pretty decent opening hand. It doesn't have any counter spells. And it's got 2 tapped lands, so I'm not going to be able to turn 1 opt if I want to hold up Stomp and Petty Theft turn 2, which I absolutely do. Especially with my opponent going first. This might be too slow of a hand with my opponent going first. No, I think I keep it though, because I think I get burned if I mulligan. Okay, this might actually be Orzhov life gain. In which case, Petty Theft can be really good, and so can Bonecrusher Giant. As long as we can hit them before they grow their Ajani or whatever. So definitely grabbing red mana here. Next turn, we're going to hold up one of these 4 spells on their turn. Ideally, we'd get a Brineborn Cutthroat down, and they wouldn't play anything worth removing. Did my opponent whiff on land drops? They keep a 1-lander. They didn't mulligan, right? Yeah, they have 7 cards in hand, so they didn't mulligan. Maybe they're just being smart and thinking before they play lands. I think they're salty roping because they underdrew lands. Or they're just having connection issues. Oh, okay. Gotta play cook, dude. There you go. Alright, so they're setting up for a big Bloodthirsty Aerialist or Johnny next turn, which we are going to do something about. Get red. So we just have to play it cool for now. We don't get to put down our threats to the board anytime soon. Ah, shit. Now, I could Bonecrusher Giant the Alseid in order to make them sack him now before they can protect a big threat, which I think I kind of have to do right now. See, Bloodthirsty Aerialist has 3 toughness? Hold on, I had to look it up. Yeah, I had to look it up, but yes, it does have 3 toughness. That's an important question to ask. So I'm just thinking, which of these is more important for me to hit their actual threat? And I think it has to be Petty Theft, unfortunately. Because they could play an Ajani, and then I could regret doing the Stomp. But if I bounce it, I'll say they just replay it and still get the benefit of it. I think I Brineborn Cutthroat now, because then I can stomp them on their turn and grow this. Stomp the Alseid. And then I can respond to what they actually play, too. Yeah. Because it could be they play an Ajani, and they don't have a 3rd land. That could be the case. It's not likely to be the case, but it could happen. Okay, that 3rd untapped land is actually really nice here. So we can opt and do one of these effects. Heliod. God, I wish I had a counterspell. I can bounce that. So they don't attack with their Alseid here, I would imagine. We're going to let this go to combat first. So I bounce Heliod, so they don't get to grow things. Actually, hold on. I should have done this first, because if I had gotten a Lofty Denial on top here, I can't really say no to Castle Vantress right now. Okay. Now I bounce this. If there had been a Lofty Denial on top, I would have really, that would have really sucked. Yeah, we're not blocking their Death Touch creature. Alright, they're tapped out. Now's a good time to kill Alseid. But, you know, I might attack with the Brineborn Cutthroat first, because if they block with Alseid, I would rather keep the Stomp for something else. But I doubt they're going to block it. I think I remove both Alseid, and then I remove the Healer's Hawk when they replay Heliod. They only gain 1 counter on Vampire to the Dire Moon, and then I can Scorching Dragonfire it and just completely reset their board. So let's start like this. Comes their Helion. Ah, dang it. What are they going to put it on? I kind of want to see what they put the counters on, because they might distribute them more equally. Oh, they're only going to go in for 1 anyway. So if I Scorching Dragonfire this... let's see, what I really want to do is play Phoenix of Ash and block with that, but it comes in as a 2/2, not a 3/3, as if I had escaped it. And I won't have the mana to pump it next turn, so I can't actually trade with it if I let them get in for this damage now. They're holding this back as a blocker, because they're now worried about that, which is good. Yeah, I think I just Scorching Dragonfire the Helos Hawk. And then if I have to trade with the Vampire, I will. In fact, I can even just put down a Bonecrusher Giant to be a easy trade. Oh, good. That's a perfect pair with this Bonecrusher Giant. Actually want to leave up 1 of each color. Alright, so now we have a good blocker for the Vampire. I actually wonder if I should just go in for damage here. Because they aren't likely to block it. It's like their only creature. And if they do block it, we're kind of okay with that. No, I'd rather go in with Bonecrusher Giant next turn. So we're still pressuring their face, but not with our big threat that gets bigger. So yeah, that's past turn. So Lofty Denial can only hit something that they tap out for, which would be a good argument for getting Brazen Borrower into play soon. Okay, it's not dead. See if they have another Mire's Grasp, then we can deny it. They could have, like, trying to think what they have for 2 mana that could kill Brineborn Cutthroat. Now that I'm revealing I don't have a counterspell. I can't say no to Gadwick. We really need a way to restock our hand, and this taps out their Vampire as well. This is actually a really good time to play him. So we're not holding up counter magic on their turn, but being able to tap out their creatures consistently could be really huge. If I played the Phoenix of Ash right now, I could start getting in for damage and hold up Lofty Denial, though. They have 3 cards left in hand. I think I'm going to still slow roll this a little bit. Offer the trade here. If they want to take it, I'm happy with that. All right, so they have a lot of devotion to get up to, but they could get up to that really quick. In fact, they could do it this turn. Yeah, they could do it this turn, but it would be... They'd have to have, like, the exact right cards. All right. Perfect. That also denies them getting that creature as well, which has lifelink on it. And I think we just hold up more no's at this point. So yeah, we're going to go in, and if they don't play anything worth knowing, then we put down another threat. And I think we've won this game now. They'd have to just draw threat after threat after threat in order for them to be able to come back from this. Do you have another Murderous Rider? Oh, they don't have any swamps. Vanishing Light. That's the game right there. Yeah, thanks. Alright, there we go. Unsurprisingly, this deck beats an Ajani pile. Unsurprisingly. It's got some control and an opt to find the things we need. It's got some decent lands too. We could get a lot worse hands than this, so I'm going to keep it. It sucks not having like a hard no to something, like a counterspell or a stomp, but Don't really want a 4th land right now. Lofty Denial is nice. And Brineborn Cutthroat. Okay, this is actually a really good hand now. Okay, so two white cards. There's a Pridesmate, and I think we're just going to deny that. Or do we Brazen Borrow it? Let's Brazen Borrow it. We're going to pass to their turn so they can invest more into this Pridemate before we bounce it, and then also we grow our Cutthroat this way. Yeah, that's not happening. Okay. Unsurprisingly, they don't attack into me with their Ajani's Pridemate. So I'm actually going to shock in here. I could get the Scribe, but if I shock in, I could bounce 2 things if that's relevant. Or I could also draw a card with Spectral Sailor. And right now, I'm not really worried about my life total. And there's not much they can do to hugely threaten it this single turn. Okay, Healer's Hawk. Right? What else you got? And a Pridemate. Okay. So I could bounce both a Pridemate now, but I think it's better to let them sit. I could even bait them into, like, double blocking Brineborn Cutthroat or something. Let's just draw some cards. Whirlwind Denial. Is that worth playing an untapped land? So I can Brazen Borrower and Whirlwind Denial. I think it is. But first I'm going to attack with just the Cutthroat. They could try to double block me here, but yeah, didn't think they would. So yeah, we're just going to do this and keep slow rolling it. They're at 11. Vanishing Light. That's going to be a nope. I could also nope the ETV trigger, which is hilarious. Nah, let's just nope it. Okay, I'm happy to trade with the Spectral Sailor here because that's their only way to get life gain, and then I can bounce the other Ajani. Phoenix of Ash. If I play it, I can still bounce a thing. And it could be an important part of getting lethal the following turn, because then I can pump it twice. This does 6 damage. Yeah, in fact, that is my lethal strategy, isn't it? We don't want another land, do we? No, we don't. Alright, this worked out nicely for us. We're only going to bounce things that are actual threats to us, like the Archon of Sun's Grace. See if they attack with the Ajani. Yeah, didn't think so. And that's game. Good game. Yeah, this is like a snap keep if I've ever seen one. Should we deliberate a little bit over our hand like it's not a snap keep? It's got good threat, turn 1 play, which can be nice, and then Lofty Denial. So yeah, Spectral Sailor into Lofty Denial is really nice. So we have this turned on. Are you going to crack it and show me your colors? Not that it really matters, but... Come on, Teamer. This is not a great hand for Teamer. Actually, the fact that we're on a play and we have Lofty Denial makes it pretty decent. They did get a Forest. Could be Teamer. That's a pretty good top deck right now. Okay, another Forest. Why would they do that? Like, if you play... If this is mono green, you wouldn't play Fabled Passage, right? Is there any reason we would want to hold up 3 mana? No. So we play our tapped land now. Oh, is this actual Sultai? I want to counter this, but I know that they have single target removal. Like, I know that they have eliminates that are going to play next. So I think I slow roll this Shovel. Like, I have to slow roll this game now a little bit, I think, and counter their actual threats. So let's hit their face. Dang it, of course I got the second stomp on top. So I could have double stomped him. But I don't actually think that's a good, like, spending 4 mana and 2 cards to deal with 1 mana that's worth 2 cards is maybe not the best idea. I can get Gadwick down eventually and tap Shovel so I can get in with Brineborn Cutthroat once we're getting close to lethal territory. If we can get another land on top, that'd be really good. I could play this Bonecrusher Giant and still hold up a spell. Having the Spectral Sailor down is huge right now. Yep. So let's see the eliminate. Oh, damn, they have another swamp out. So they could do 2 removal spells here. Shit. This is actually a huge problem because if I draw a card, they could, like, Midnight Rider in response. Or, that's not what it's called, but you know what I mean. They could kill me in response, so let's just go face. See if we can't bait it out by tapping out a little bit. Perfect. Oh, and we got another no. That's, like, almost as good as another land on top. Actually, it might be better than another land on top in this situation. Unfortunately, we don't have anything to do with our mana if we want to hold this up. It's a tough choice. I'm going to draw. If they kill it, then I can play down other threats anyway. And we have to get it out of their hand. I just can't afford to, like, be not using my mana because I'm afraid of their removal spells. If this was me playing my 6th land, I'd be really happy right now, but it's not. I hate to use a Whirlwind Denial on that, but I can't let them keep getting the card draw and the life. I want to top deck a land, so I'm actually not going to crack this. So I don't want to deck then. Perfect. Now might be a good time to Gadwick, honestly. Refill my hand. This is going to be a hard game. Let's go in first. Because if they do have a removal spell, I'd rather them kill the Spectral Sailor. They don't have a 2-mana removal spell. I'm not seeing priority being held. So let's get another blue. Nice. Okay. That's a good set of cards here. I can bounce their Shovel. Vivian, okay. They're gonna hit Gadwick, but then they don't get the count. They don't get the card draw. They do that? Okay, no, they do kill Spectral Sailor for just that reason. So that was a mistake. Unless they have an eliminate right now. Yeah, that was a mistake. They don't know that. Maybe they should know that though, because Gadwick is such a huge card. I think I gotta pressure their face. Yeah, they can't blast on me next turn. Actually, do I don't care about Vivian right now. If this gave them cards, I would care, but right now I don't care at all. I just want to hit their life total. So now the question is, do I scry to set up for next turn, or do I play this to bluff a counterspell? Let's scry. I don't need another land. Okay, so they have to hit the Phoenix of Ash. But I can escape him if I need another bit of damage. Perfect. Okay, now they plus Vivian. We're going to tap him. Get in for 4. That's lethal. It's just trample, right? Yeah, it's not reach. That's the other Vivian.
Stomping time.
Good game. I have enough cards in the bin, yeah? Okay. Almost certainly at this point you should have enough cards in the bin to escape Phoenix of Ash. Just for fun. Alright, that was kind of Golgari control. It's not what we want to see with Sultai control / ramp, but I don't know. I mean, it's no surprise that tempo beats control, right? Like, that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Tonosaurus. There are worse hands. I'm keeping this just because there are ops. I think I'm going to start with a Fabled Passage. Pull out blue, rather than just play Castle Vantress tapped. Which allows me to hold up a Petty Theft next turn, and also guarantee that this is not going to be a problem later. Okay, this could be it. This could be it. This is a terrible hand for Temur Clover, but we do have 2 ops to try to fix that. And we might be playing both next turn. Oh, but we do have the Lofty Denial. If they play the Clover, we've got him. Okay, they're doing another Scryland. This could be anything. Like, this isn't necessarily Temur, but it is. But it is actually necessarily Temur. So I could Lofty Denial this to deny them both the Lovestruck Beast and the 1/1, but I don't think that's what we want to do here. We have to be playing a longer game, so finding the cards we need for this matchup is much more important. There's a Gadwick. That's going to be helpful. I kind of want that 4th land. So do I want to shock or play this tapped, play the shock on tapped, or do I want to play this untapped? Is the debate I'm having right now. There is a world in which I do actually want to play this Brazen Borrower as a 3/1 and or get the Spectral Sailor down. Yeah, actually, I'm going to do this just so I can get the Spectral Sailor down and grow the Lofty Denial in case they do try to play Clover with 3 mana. See, they just play the Lovestruck Beast. If I were them, that's what I would do. Because I'm, like, presenting a counterspell here. Beanstalk Giant. It's just 1 land. We're going to let them have it. I think they're also trying to gauge counter magic. This could be an Edgewall Innkeeper as well. Isn't that a 1-mana card, or is that 2 mana? I think it's 1 mana, isn't it? Yeah, it is 1 mana. Okay. I just had to check. Sanity check. Alright. Let's start pressuring their face. They're trying to slow roll us, actually, is the situation here. But we want to force them to start having to play spells. Fabled Passage or Steam Vents? I could want all my mana. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so glad we got Temur Clover. I don't care if we win or lose this match. I'm just happy we got it in there. I was a little worried we weren't going to find any. Because I've been recording for 48 minutes now. We've won every match so far. I think it's been 5 or 6 matches or something I've played. But yeah, we're going to let them do that. We'd rather counterspell the Uro than counterspell the Merfolk Secret Keeper. Plus, we can't actually counterspell them right now anyway. We can deny that, though. And oh my god, is that a big deny. I'd honestly rather hit this than a Clover right now. Especially with them on 3 cards. Do they have a counter spell? Is this Temur Clover with actual counter spells? I haven't seen that, so... If they bounce my Brazen Borrower, they could be thinking about bouncing my Brazen Borrower in order to make this... have them pay 1 instead of 4, but then we flash in the Spectral Sailor. Nice! Okay, that was cool. Okay. That was really cool. Oh, man. Okay, do I want to deck thin at this point, or do I want to top deck another land? I think I'm going to leave this uncracked, because I don't think I'd mind top decking another land. And this is a good time to trade with the 1/1. So they have 6 cards in the bin, and I'm out of counterspells, but I can bounce the Uro back to their hand. Nah, I'm going to keep him in the air, just as a flying enabler and a little bit of damage every turn. Okay, we got a Whirlwind Denial. Okay. Okay, here we go. I think we do shock in here so we can bounce and Whirlwind Deny. And we're looking for a good turn to play Gadwick, but this is not that turn. They're almost out of cards, though. They do have some in the Adventure Zone. That Beanstalk Giant is going to come back, but we can maybe find another answer for that. I mean, we can just tap it, honestly, with Gadwick. Yep, we'll let that resolve. It's not a huge threat to us right now. I could bounce the token and play a Borrower, or I could draw a card. I'm not really worried about stuff they can do at instant speed here. Yeah, I think actually bouncing the token and playing the Borrower is a really good move. I think I do want a blue here, just so we could potentially Gadwick and use him the turn that we play him. Like with an Opt or something, or even a Petty Theft. Could be a useful line to have open. Okay, we are going to attack into that. Okay. I still don't think it's the time to play this yet, because we kind of want to deny the Uro, or are we okay with tapping out so we can bounce it the following turn? Maybe this is when we want to be baiting them to play Uro, actually. All right, more lands. Another Whirlwind Denial is not bad. So yeah, escape your Uro. Get it on the field. Exile all your cards so that I can bounce it back to your hand. Oh, Crisis. Okay. So we can bounce this and then deny it when they replay it. Fortunately, we can't attack with Gadwick without playing another blue spell. And we don't have enough lands to play this Brazen Borrower to tap their Secret Keeper, so we'll just get in for another one. Slowly but surely, whittling them down. See if they replay it. They could go Uro, they could go Beanstalk Giant, or some other card. They do have 5 cards in hand. It's not a good situation for us. Yeah, that Hydroid Crisis, like, we got our Gadwick in, but they got their Crisis in, which was probably more important for them than this was for us, honestly. I don't know. I mean, this Gadwick is going to be what gets us lethal. Well, we can't actually counter that, so we have to let it resolve. But we do have the cards in hand to be able to deal with a Lucky Clover, so we're not out of this game by any means. We need to be getting in more damage, though. I'd really love the space to play Brazen Borrower. Like, if they don't play any viable threat here, I would love to play this down. No, here they go. They're going to escape Uro. Lofty Denial. Okay. I could draw right now. Then I'm still holding up Whirlwind Denial. If I'm going to do that, I should scry first. But I could also play this Borrower right now during my main phase to tap the Secret Keeper and get in for 4. I also probably want to play the Borrower anyway. That's probably my best play next turn anyway. So yeah, let's just get in some damage and start threatening them. And I actually kind of like not scrying here, because then I could Whirlwind Denial and Lofty Denial, in case that's relevant, which would enable me to tap both of these things additionally, so we can get in for another 7 damage and put them on a really short clock. So I could make them pay 4, 2, 3, 4, and then make them pay another 4, or have this counterspelled. It's really, really nice play from them here to do such a cheap play. Let's see if they'll pay it. If they do, they only have 2 mana left. They could Brazen Borrower, bounce something, but their best target is Gadwick or Brazen Borrower, which are terrible bounce targets, so... I mean, they would bounce 2 things because they have a Clover, but yeah. Alright, they let it resolve. Are they going to Crisis now? Well, yeah, we let this resolve. It's not a threat to us. I mean, it sets their clock back a turn, maybe. But we'd rather counterspell their Crisis. Because that just totally resets their clock if they get to play that spell, so we can't let that happen. They are very close to being able to escape Uro again as well, so we need more answers. Another Uro. Yeah, we kind of have to let it resolve. We can't afford to let them play the Crisis. Having both Uro and Crisis is a really hard situation for us to be in. Here's an interesting play. I was going to say I could Scorching Dragonfire their Uro after they escape it and then Whirlwind Denial, but that doesn't do anything. But I could attack Scorching Dragonfire their Merfolk Secret Keeper, so it's no longer a relevant blocker. I don't think we're going to get a good target for Scorching Dragonfire. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That could be a reason to not Scorching Dragonfire, is so that I can scry with Castle. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Well, let's see what this scry shows me. Yeah, I think the Secret Keeper is not the priority here. Dang it, they have the other land, so they can escape Uro now. They can pay for Whirlwind Denial. Oh wait, they had enough anyway. Yeah, this is a big problem for us. Or they're not going to play it? Oh, they just play a Beanstalk Giant. That's really good for us. So do I want to scry 2 or do I want to draw 1? I can't do both, unfortunately. The actual number of cards in my hand don't matter as much as what the cards are. Okay, that was a really good scry. That is probably not going to do it. Yeah, actually, Scorching Dragonfire is pretty valuable here, just in terms of scaring them by having 2 cards in hand that I've been holding up for a while. I think they know we've been top decking lands, so we've had these 2 cards for a while, and I think they're terrified of them, which is a good place for them to be, honestly. Oh yeah, they can't escape Uro yet. They're 1 card short. Never mind. I thought I said they could play before, but they couldn't. Yeah, we're gonna let them get in for 9. There's not really much we can do about it. We really need to draw like an opt or something to start tapping this out every turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we can draw and scry, as long as they don't play anything here. Play your Crisis, I dare you. Shit. If we play Whirlwind Denial, then they have to tap out to pay for her, and then they only have 2 mana remaining, which they can't really do anything with but bounce something with Brazen Borrower. Then we kill Nissa by Scorching Dragonfire and attacking through the air the next turn. But I think we have to deal with her. Let's just see what's on top first before I commit to that line. See what we can prepare for next turn. Oh my god, look at these very helpful scries. Alright, we're going to go for it. Let's tap out the Lovestruck Beast. So they're going to pay, I'm almost positive. It means we don't have a way to deal with their Hydroid Crisis anymore, but letting them resolve that Nissa is just game over. They're thinking about it. Ah, they can't even, they don't even have 2 mana because they don't have like a breeding pool. They don't have 2 mana to play for Brazen Borrower anyway, for Petty Theft. They could play another 2 mana green spell, but okay, they're going to get in for 3. Or not. Another Gadwick. This is so freaking close. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage through the air currently. If I top decked 2 stomps, then that would be game over. But I'd have to... Or if I top decked a Phoenix and had the mana left over to pump it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'd have to only draw 2 cards with Gadwick to make that play possible. Leaving up 6 mana is not really viable for us right now. How many Phoenix do I have left in the deck? Yeah, I have 2. I haven't seen any of them in 36 cards. If I found an Embercleave, that would also do it. Which I could pay for with just 3 mana. I think I want to leave up 4 mana here. Play Gadwick and see what I draw. They can gain 2 life, actually. I didn't think about that. So that's going to make it a lot harder to get actual lethal this turn. There's 1 stomp. That doesn't quite do it, though. There is an opt. I might be able to opt into a card to tap out another one of their things. Like, I have to tap out Beanstalk Giant. I guess it's just Beanstalk Giant, unless they can play another 1/1. They could play the Hydroid Crisis as a 1/1 and then get in with the Lovestruck Beast. So, let's see. All I really have to do is attack with one of the 3/3s at Nissa. But it's a hard question, like, how hard do I go at their face? And they also have a Great Henge, too. So, like, if I don't go at their face now, then I might just be dead. So I think it's definitely that, because I can block with Gadwick if I have to. They do some crazy play. I think I have to go all in at the face, and I have to race them at this point. Yeah.
Cease this aggression. I must go.
Alright, so I can stomp and opt. I could stomp them in the face. That puts them down to 4. Then they gain 2. They're back up to 6. They gain another 2 on their turn. They're back up to 8. Then I still don't have lethal here. Even if I could tap out all the relevant blockers. And they're going to be able to Hydroid Crisis too. I mean, we're leaving 3 mana up, so they might not Crisis, but I think that I think they Crisis now. We can't let them pass to attackers either without spending one of our mana, so we reveal that we don't have a Whirlwind Denial. If I get a Lofty Denial, I'm going to take that, because that would prevent the Crisis. Spectral Sailor allows me to tap out another thing. I kind of want to leave it on top just to scare them. 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, it could be lethal if we're able to tap out all their blockers, or they do that for us. Like, if they attack with their forest right now. Okay, I'm going to leave it on top, because it is a possible line towards lethal. We're going to let them attack us. We want them to attack us here. Oh, wait, no, this has Vigilance. Fuck me. So I need 2 spells now, at least. Probably 3, because they're going to play a Crisis, would be my guess. And even then, they're going to gain a lot of life. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They're going to gain 5 life? No, 4 life. One interesting play from them would be to tap all their mana but 4 for Hydroid Krasis. That plays around the Lofty Denial, and then even if I had it, they could decide to escape Uro because Hydroid Krasis would go in the bin. And they would still gain the life and draw the cards if they're just trying to play around Lofty Denial. Ugh, we just need an Embercleave on top and this game is over. I mean, not actually over, but very close to over. Actually, it might be over. They did it! Oh no, they left up 3. Oh, interesting. Why do they only leave up 3? You'd think they'd leave up 4. But I guess they get the additional card draw and the additional life gain this way. If they can top deck a Borrower... There's another Clover, okay. I think we're dead. Let's tap their Krasis just in case there's some way to get in for enough damage. This is preventing us from being able to tap stuff on their turn, but we'd have to tap 3 things, so I think trying to get lethal now is like our only hope. Alright, let's draw, or do I scry first? Well, if I scry first, I can't draw, really, so I just had to draw. Land is not what we wanted to see on top. Let's keep going. Man, we've gone through some flood here. A Whirlwind Denial. A turn too late. So we could tap 2 things. Block with the Brineborn Cutthroat. No, we don't have enough mana. Yeah, I think we're down to chumping here. And then using Brineborn Cutthroat, flashing in to hit the Hydro Krasis. That Great Henge is a real big problem for us. We're just going to pass turn. I think this game's over, but I'm going to play it out. Oh, wait. Hold on. Hold on. Full control. Undo the passing. I want to attack. I want to attack with Brazen Borrower. He doesn't do anything on the block, so keep pressuring their life total is important. It just gives us some possibility. Like, if we top decked a Phoenix, that could be enough. Just 1 Phoenix could be enough. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to math right now. Where was the other mana? Oh, the forest. Oh, dude. Yeah, that's game right there. I mean, I can Whirlwind Denial it, but then they untap with Hydroid Krasis anyway. Yeah, I'm 1 mana short to be able to deal with that. Maybe they won't attack. They're thinking about trying to play around an opt right now. I'm not sure what cards they'd have in hand to do that, but they almost certainly attack with Hydroid Krasis no matter what. Yeah, that's game. Good game. All right, wow. That was an insane match. That was so long, but I'm glad that I got to show the Clover matchup. Of the games that we just played right now, I think we played 6 or 7. I don't think I'm going to show them all, but I won all of them except for that match. But you can see like how much of a run for their money we gave Team Your Clover, which is really hard to do in a tempo style deck. So it's like one of our biggest challenges. It's not only do we have to deal with stuff like mono red, but we also have to deal with Clover. But this deck does get the job done. Gadwick is huge against Clover. Whirlwind is huge against Clover. And then once you get into the late game, the fact that you don't have hard counters and you have stuff like Lofty Denial does kind of hurt a little bit, but the fact that you can potentially counterspell their Clover with Lofty Denial is a pretty big deal. So yeah, anyway, that's the deck. I have a lot of fun playing Izzet. Tempo style stuff. I hope that we get some new cards that will make this viable again in standard or some version of tempo. I just love tempo. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next deck.